Good afternoon. Yes, my name is Tracie Fountain, and I am the candidate in the race who, in addition to being a certified public accountant, Relief Association audits to children and youth agencies. So, and prior to that, I was the department's technical training manager. Make no mistake, the bureau directors are leadership positions because we are the ones that are on the front lines of developing audit policies and procedures to make sure that the elected officials audit objectives are satisfied. We manage field staff. We some of which are rank and file members of the union, management staff, things of that nature. We're responsible for the day-to-day operations of everything that the Auditor General office does on the audit side of the part. I'd like to say also that I am the candidate who was also born and raised in Pittsburgh, the Hill District, and I'm a graduate of Brashear High School. And I left Pittsburgh to attend Drexel University, and I always had the intentions of coming back, but made my way to Harrisburg, Dauphin County. And I went to the Auditor General's office because I needed 2 years of auditing experience to qualify for my CPA license, and that 2 years turned into 29 years. So that is pretty much strong evidence of how much I love the work that we do there. As Auditor General, I would take my experience and knowledge to really move the department forward by continuing Eugene D. Pasquale's work, but by also moving a step forward and adding performance audit components to all of our regular routine mandated audits so that we can get more of that performance audit coverage in the 5,000 audits that we release annually. The other thing I like to point out is that when I started under the Hafer administration, we had 850 employees statewide, and through a series of budget cuts and things of that nature that were, in my opinion, political in nature, because the better our work got, the more light that we shined. Sometimes we were cut. That as of November 1st, the department's down to 392 people, while statewide, while still being responsible for 5,000 audits annually. So I believe that I'm the right person for this job because for this position, because I've been working in that environment for 29 years where we had to learn how to do more with less. And I would bring that same thought process, to my role as Auditor General. Also, the last point I want to make is that every Auditor General that I've worked for, and that's been four, they all hired or appointed a CPA to serve as their Deputy Auditor General for audits. And that is the person that all the bureau directors reported to make sure that the elected officials' audit objectives and agenda was met. So if I'm elected Auditor General, I am that CPA. I can, instead of appointing another CPA to that position, I can take and use that money, that savings to hire additional audit staff. And my estimate is that that would save anywhere between $600,000 to $800,000 over a 4-year term. So I want to thank you, and I ask for your support and endorsement. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, the question we started with was about auditing experience, and clearly, you've touched on that. So perhaps we should skip to the question of where can the Auditor General be proactive and lead rather than being reactive?
The Auditor General can be proactive in many ways. I think one of the biggest ways as I travel around the state is understanding that while most Pennsylvania citizens know who the Auditor General is, they know the name of that person, they're not exactly clear on what we do and what our powers and duties are as an office. So I believe upping the citizens of Pennsylvania's knowledge in that area is a way to be proactive. I also believe being proactive as Auditor General comes from the type of audits that you choose to do when you have those limited resources. So making those decisions as to what's going to get priority. One of the biggest things that I saw while I was still there, because I had to resign to run, was that we're falling behind in the completion of the audits because there hasn't been a lot of analysis done with our regular routine audits. And so some auditing is about where you look. So what I would like to do as Auditor General is change the focus of those regular routine audits so that we can look at more, incorporate the look of more relevant items for today. One of the examples I can give you, has anyone heard of the Erie Magistrates Audit or District Justice Audit? If you're not familiar with that one, what happened was with, we're responsible for the audits of all the district justices or magistrates across the state, and there's about 2,000 of those. But that audit has historically been financial in nature, where the audit objective was to count up the fees that were collected and make sure that they were all properly deposited. Well, what this Erie magistrate did when it came time to charge the person or with their civil offense that would have been one fine, this Erie magistrate, in thinking that she was doing the person standing in front of her a favor, decided to go and say, well, I'll give you give you an offense that will cost you a lesser fine. Where she erred was the fine that she ended up giving this person was attached to a criminal offense. And that person ended up getting a criminal offense on a background check, which barred that person from being accepted into the military.